he's not trying to do it, or she's not trying to do that. They have ADD, and they can't sit down more than 30 minutes without having to jump up. Okay? And so I had to even have rules for that. You know, you can get up and walk around, but you can't do nothing to draw attention to yourself. You see what I'm saying? I let them do things that other teachers wouldn't do, as long as they understand that you can't disrupt the class. What is that teaching them? Coping skills. Okay? Teaching them how to cope and do it, because they need to do that. They really do. Okay? That's something that they really need. So I have to let them do it, but I have to find effective ways to let them do it to where the whole class don't turn around and look at them, you know. So I had to teach them how to do it. And again, that's, you know, we already talked about all that, the dark days. And accepting that I have a mental health diagnosis is great now. It really is, because the thing that I said is, one of the drawbacks is you're vulnerable, and nobody wants to show their vulnerabilities. We live in America. In America, tough man movies like The Rock, they sell out. You know what I'm saying? So that's the persona we want to give. And when you're big, you definitely have to keep it up. You know, you have to, you know, have that persona that nothing bothers you. But what I really found out is that there was an opportunity to still impact the lives of people. And not just a few lives, but I found an opportunity to affect millions of lives through, you know, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So that's kind of like what helped me, because then I started looking at it as a strength and not a weakness. Because the strength is that I've been able to help other people learn how to be successful despite their mental health disability. The stigma, again, we talked about the stigma. Now, have you ever had a difficulty accepting a difficult and challenging time in your life? Anybody want to respond to that? Yeah, let's go. Okay.
The death of my grandmother was extremely challenging for me.
Okay. Okay. Those are, I mean, deaths are always challenging. You know, the last time we did one of these, the same day, I had a young lady in my family that we got a call. It was at 4 o'clock in the morning. And man, when you get called like that, you just know. You know, because don't nobody call me. You know, old people, we don't get called at 4 in the morning. You know? I mean, you got to stop calling me at 8 p.m. because I probably will be in the bed. You know, so we don't get called at 4 in the morning. So when somebody calls at 4 in the morning, your heart just drops. And sure enough, they said, this young lady that has been calling me, looking at my podcast, wanting to be better, had flipped over in a car, and she lost her life, died on impact. You know, and that was tough, because that was one of the good ones. You know, I got some, and all my family is good, but some of them, you know, just they make you think they're not good. But they're good, but boy, they make you think they're not good. But this was definitely one of the good ones. This was one of the good ones. A young lady trying to do her thing, trying to get better. And so I understand how that gentleman in the back feels, man. When you lose somebody, it is tough. But this is the thing. In life, you know, that's part of us growing and developing is our challenges. If you don't have challenges, that's one of the programs that I implemented in my classroom with students, because I realized that many of them did not believe that they had the ability for greatness, you know, because of their family. You know, they didn't have doctors and lawyers in their family. You know, they had people that was driving trucks and doing other things, and that was their inspiration. That's what they desired to be, that same thing. And so they would say, Coach Worthy, I don't know why I got to learn this. I already know what I got to do. I don't even need school. You know, and so I had to teach them. And the thing about it is, these were bright kids. Bright. I mean, I just used to sit there because I gave my kids free time. Every 45 minutes of work, I give them 15 minutes of free time. Okay, that's how I was successful, and I found out that's how Finland has one of the best educational systems in the world, and the reason they do is because they do that same thing. They do 40 minutes of work, 20 minutes of break, and so that's one of the things that I implemented in my classroom was for my students to have those breaks in that time. So that's the thing. Challenges, you have to have those challenges in order for you to grow. If you don't have challenges, you're not going to get smarter. Your talent, if you got talent, guess what that is? Potential. I don't care what that talent is, it's potential. That means it's stored, and the only way it gets activated is if you learn how to develop it. So that was one of the things that I had to do. I had to change their mindset so that they can believe that they can achieve at high levels. They just didn't think they could do it. They didn't. And so we had things in that program that taught them how they couldn't say, I can't do this, Mr. Worthing. They couldn't say that. If they said it, they have to say, I can't do this yet. And if they said it any other way, they got a negative point, and the negative points help on Fridays when we get rewarded for whatever we did that week and the points that we earned. Okay, so I stopped them from saying, I can't do this. It's too hard. I stopped them because that's a mindset when you say that. I could never do math. What you set your mind up to do? Fail in math. But if you approach it with a growth mindset and say, man, I can't do it now, but if I get in that room and study for about 2 hours a day, I'll get it. Okay, so that's challenges or, the things that we need to develop our talent. So we have those challenges. Thank you for sharing back there, sir. But challenges are something that we definitely need. Treatment should be tailored to the individual needs. Certain medications don't work for certain people because our bodies of chemistries are made different. So, what worked for one person, because me and my grandson take 2 different medications for our ADD, and we both have the same thing. The only thing is he's hyper and I'm hypo. So, I just lose it, I just be in that little zone where I'm here but I'm not here, and he just be all over the place. And so that's the difference between the two. We take 2 totally different, medications for the same disability. Okay, so treatment is going to be tailored to the individual need, and that's one of the things I talk to my parents about too, is because I don't want them to be on medicine, I'm looking for ways to wean them off. And so if they're on something that is making them zombie-tized and they can't get the strategies that I'm teaching, I don't want them that way either, because then they're gonna have to stay with me. And I don't want that. I want them to move out and get to the other class. And I remember one year I had like 2 students the whole year. 2 students. And both of them at the end of the year ended up going to, we have another, in Henry County, most counties have one, but we have a school that is set up for people that need more students that need more psychological help. It's kind of like a school where they have a psychiatrist, therapy, and stuff like that. And so those students that was there that year, they ended up going to that because they needed more than what I can give them. Okay, so the individual need, it should be tailored to the individual. What works for one person may not work for the other. Consumers are members of their treatment team, and that's one of the things that, as when we do our support groups, that's one of the things that we talk about, how you don't just if you got a family member that has, one of those like schizo, and they can't really, comprehend, what those doctors are doing, then they need to have a family advocate, so they can monitor, what is going on with their loved one. Okay, because if something is making them feel a way that you don't like, and it's in a way where they can't, be effective, then it's your right to go to the doctor and say, hey, we need to look at something else. So, the treatment, what works for one person don't work, may not work for somebody else, and the consumers are members of their treatment. We never just put it in the hands of the doctors ourselves. Tips I use to help me cope, again, just understanding and knowing that what I do now go a long way in helping people work on reaching their full potential. Those are some of the coping skills I have. There are times when I have to, like when I was in the store that day at Dollar General, I had to count backwards from 10. That little kid just didn't know that if I was not counting backwards from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, man, if I was not doing that, I don't know, man, I might be, one of y'all probably would have been come handcuffing me and bringing me to jail somewhere, because it was just that, it was getting that bad. But I had to utilize counting backwards. I teach my kids in the classroom. We have a moment where we just listen to some, soft music, and everybody's quiet, and I want them to meditate. God knows what they were doing when we did that, but it sounded good, and I was getting results, so I kept doing it. And that's the thing. If you got something working, man, you got to, don't mess it up. Chicago Bulls won 3 straight, and then you get rid of everybody. See, and most companies, man, you kind of like go with what's working. So, I kind of like go with what's working as well. So those are some of the things that I use to cope. I learned to take care of myself by just enjoying life. Enjoying life. There was a time where I didn't enjoy life. I was secluded to myself all the time, and I really was a ticking time bomb. It was just stuff because I didn't open up and because I didn't talk to people. There were times, and my wife, she said it, man, you're just like a ticking time bomb sometimes. And so you got to find ways to really enjoy life, and I really am. I'm enjoying life now, even though I'm working hard, and I'm getting to it, I'm grinding. I'm enjoying life. I really am. I love what I do. I really do. I love bouncing around, sweating all over the place. I love it. That's my passion. So I take care of myself. Sometimes I'm a Hawks season ticket holder, which we've been going to games this year, believe it or not, 1,000 people, in that 20,000 seat arena. So you have plenty of room. I love it because of the seats that they made me have. They took away my seats because I had disabled seats where you have a table and you can push your chair back and forth. This year they made us sit. They took all those kind of seats out and made us sit in these little things where my knees hit up against the other. But see, because I got like 3 rows to myself, man, I can stretch out a little bit. I put my feet over the chair like that. I'm like, yeah, this is cool right here. And I think this half they're going to start letting 3,000 in. So we're going to see how that works. I'll be there Sunday. But that's one of the things I do because I love basketball. I really do. It's always been a part of me, and so I love it. And so those are some of the things that I do to take care of myself. Accomplishments and successes I'm most proud of, and always, we always go to the title. Getting ready to coach Montgomery. He used to be my assistant. They getting ready to win one tonight. But I promise you, after he win that title tonight, he's still gonna say the most proudest moment he has is when he have a student that everybody has given up on, and when that student in his senior year or her senior year, and they walk across that aisle. That's still the best feeling. It causes emotions because, again, those are students that have been left out, and he does that. Mont will take students. The football coach, he wouldn't deal with the kid, and Mont let him play basketball and changed his life. So he's that kind of person. That's why I knew he was going to be better for the job than I was, because the game has changed. I like Shaq That's the kind of ball we played. We had 6'10", 6'9" guys, so we pounded inside, and the game was changing. Kids would have easy layups, fast breaks, and pull up to the three-point line. And I was like, oh, go get him! Go get him now! Then I put him in, he do the same thing. He go and pull up. Oh, Lord, man, you're going to have to take this team next year, man. Because that's what they do now. That's how the game is set up. Everybody, even the 7-footers are doing what now? Shooting three-pointers. You know, so it was my time, and I knew he liked that stuff. Because I let him make some plays, and all his plays was shooting three-pointers. So I said, yeah, he's the right man for the job, and he's been winning. You know, he haven't made it to the finals until today, but he's still been keeping the program winning. So that's a compliment, but I love when the kids, it's just like something when you see a kid that has been struggling, and then all of a sudden they say, oh, I got that, Mr. Wortham. It's something about that. Because it makes you feel good because the kid was struggling, and all of a sudden they got it. It's called light bulb moment. And you know, so those are the most proudest moments. What am I hopeful for? I'm working on book 3 now. And again, I'm trying to get it done, but you know, with me being on the go all the time, it's hard for me to get in there and sit down for 4 or 5 straight hours. But it'll be done just like the other 2. It took me about a year or 2, year and a half, I guess, for each one. So because I take my time, I write when I have the motivation to be able to do it. But I'm working on my 3rd book. Don't let your highs be too high and your lows be too low. You know that it'll be coming out before 2022. I know that. You know, I just don't put time on it anymore because that ADD stuff won't let me. No, I'm just playing. I just don't put times on it anymore because a lot of times I don't make the day. So that's what I like doing too. I like writing. I do all of my books are self-help. You know, I wrote the first one was From Dependency to Freedom, but I Still Must Fight, helping people that's either they're going toward that addiction or they're there and they're trying to overcome. And so the reason I wrote my book is because a lot of books don't tell you that the addiction stays with you for life. It's kind of like the grass. Like now, in the wintertime, what happens to the grass? Turns brown, looks dead, but as soon as sunlight and rain come, guess what it does? It turns pretty green again. And so that's how addiction does. So that's why I titled it From Dependency, I was dependent on it, to freedom, but I still got to fight every single day. Even now, 28 years later, I'm still fighting and making sure that I don't put myself in certain situations. Okay. Second book was The Immaculate Concept of Me. Again, same thing I had to do with my students, help them to change their mindset from one that is what we call fixed, where they give up easily, they quit, and there's probably some people in here that do the same thing. You give up, you start something, you're like, man, that's too hard. That's how a lot of our kids are. So I took them from that kind of mindset to what we call a growth mindset, to where they believe that if I work hard, I can do anything that I want to do. If I study, if I put in the time and the work, I can be and do whatever I want to do. Okay, so those are the things that I focus on. I do this, I do other speaking engagements. I mean, I'm full. I'm really filling up, and this is during the pandemic. You know, you know. So when the pandemic came in, I was like, oh my goodness, we had all these plans, Chuck. I mean, I had stuff set up with all these venues and everything, and then all of a sudden, I found myself like, what am I going to do? And then Zoom. Zoom came up and people were saying, hey, can you do a Zoom then? I said, I don't know what it is, but yeah, I'll try. And Zoom really, you know, it gets the job done. You know, the only thing I don't like about it is because people can be naked and just put their face up there. And, you know, I like, and I just like, you know what I'm saying? I just like to see people. I like to see the reactions. I like to see, you know, the emotions and stuff like that. Okay, but it still pays pretty good though. But those are the things that I continue to want to do, what helps, what hurts. And again, this is the last thing, because this is going to sum up, all of that, is that if, like me, I had a hard time believing too that sometimes you don't really have to respond. And all the time you can respond in a non-threatening way. All the time. And when you respond like that, it actually does cause the other person to do it. Okay? Even if they keep doing it. That's why I said that word consistency when I talk to teachers, consistency, because we have a tendency to, we just like the millennials and everybody else, we don't like to say that. We don't have patience either. Because they grew up in a world where everything is instant. We're in a world where everything is instant, and so we don't want to wait. And so we expect these strategies to work in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we're like, man, I tried that stuff, coach. 2 weeks. No, it's not going to work in 2 weeks. You have to give it a little bit more time than that. That's why I say 6 weeks of consistency and not changing and, letting kids know, that's how it's going to be, man. Sorry. Cry all you want. Give me the mean face all you want. And this, I'm going to tell you, this is the first couple of weeks of school, right? This is how it always starts. How many minutes? I'm good. But the first days of school, okay? All I do for that first month and a half really is structure. We're walking down the hallway, walk on the right side, facing forward. We don't go to wave at our friends, say, hey man, what's up? Dap him up. We don't do none of that. We walk down the hallway. Whenever somebody does that, then I always carry my phone in my class dojo and I give them a negative point. Okay? Because, and the students that I get at first, they don't care. They be like, man, get that negative points, man. Mr. Word. Tell them about no negative point. They do that. Well, on Fridays, when they have to have 80 points to go to the store that I have made in the classroom, based on things that they told me on the first day that they were willing to work for. Okay? And I make a big deal out of it. I do like a soul train line. I go all the desk to the side. We have a line here. And I play some music, man. Migos, everybody, whatever they want. I say, it's on you, bro. You made it. And then I call them, starting from, the least person, as long as they had 80. But then I give a reward for the 2 highest scores as well. And but I make a big deal. And that joke over there that was saying, forget you, Mr. Word. He mad now. See, and that day, I always wear a blazer. But that day I don't wear a blazer. That's why. Because I already know I'm going to have to do some things. Yeah. Because I can restrain students. I can. They give me the license to be able to do that. So on Fridays, I knew I was going to give me a good workout, especially if it was somebody that I knew was not going to make it. And so I didn't have my jacket on. And as soon as everybody else leave out the classroom, to go to, we had a room set up. At Eagles Landing Middle, we had a room set up where they had video games, and they had all kind of stuff in that room, but they had to earn it, And so while they was going over there to enjoy the whole rest of the school day on Friday, man, this person in here, he down on the ground, and I got him, and I'm talking to him. Hey man, I told you, it was gonna be like this. You man, trying to move, you can't even move your feet, because when I do it, they can't do anything. They're powerless. And that's one of the things that break them, is because they realize they can't overpower me. And I'm still sitting there just as calm. Man, you don't have to do all this, man. It's just, you got next week. You don't want to mess up next week, man. I'm getting tired here, bro. Come on, man. Let's get it together. But guess what? In about 3 weeks, when I say, man, we don't doubt people, guess what he do? Oh, I'm sorry, Coach, my bad. It's simple, but I'm telling you, it works if you are consistent in what you do. Because all of these students are going to try your consistency. And a lot of times what we do as parents, a lot of times what we do as teachers, They give us the sad face, and then we say, well, I'm gonna let you do it this time. No, you made 79, man, you need 80. Sorry, you know, but guess what? It don't cause them to make less points, it causes them to make more points. Okay? And so by the end of my year, well, in the 6-week period of time, all the students are making their points. Okay? So that's how I know the best response is always to be non-threatening, not responding to the situation the way that you see the person. Their emotions is all the way up here. You want to be that calming factor and say, I see, you know, everything's going to be all right. I just need to hear you tell me. I can't even get your side of it because you up here. You know, come on down here a little bit. And even if they still screaming, you still, yeah, I get it. I hear you. I hear you. Okay. And then you just hear them say, well, man, this is what happened, man. You know, and that's what you want to do. It's power in not responding or responding in a non-threatening way. Okay? Anybody have any questions for me? Great, you've been good, man. I appreciate you.